In today's world, you won't be working with virtual machines very long before the question is going to pop up, hey, wait a minute, can I encrypt these things and protect this data somehow? Short answer is yes. Virtual machines, understand, are extremely portable and accessible. Now, way back in the day, I'm going to tell my age here just a little bit. Back in the day when I was working for the large telecommunications company, really all we had to do was protect our servers physically. We had them behind 2 or 3 locked doors, and you had to have super secret passwords and magic cards and all kinds of things to get into the inner sanctum of where all the servers were. But it was very hard to steal a whole lot of data back then. We didn't have thumb drives. Our floppy drives were 5¼ inch, and they could only hold like 1.2 megabytes of data. But nowadays, you can steal a server in these virtual environments. You can easily walk out of a place with a server on a thumb drive, and so that creates some problems. So if you're working with virtual machines that contain sensitive data, how can you protect them? Because think back to some of the videos I did earlier in the course where we mapped a drive to the VMDK file of a virtual machine and didn't even have to have the virtual machine running to access that data. So the bottom line is we need to encrypt our virtual machines, and we can encrypt our virtual machines. Very easy to do. We're just going to choose the machine. I'll show you this in just a minute, but I just want to talk through it right now. Choose the virtual machine menu item out there in Workstation. Choose Settings. Then on the Option tab, select Encryption, and then enter an encryption password. And keep in mind, the encryption process is going to take a while, especially if your disk file is large. So don't kick this off right before something, absolutely positively must be done that requires for you not to be tied up encrypting or something. Now, there are some restrictions, there are some prerequisites, if you will, when you get ready to encrypt a virtual machine. Just keep these in mind and you'll be fine. First of all, the virtual machine must be powered off to either add or remove encryption or to change the encryption password. Next, your virtual machine must be using virtual hardware 5 or later, 5 dot anything or later. Next, when you using a virtual machine and you want to encrypt it, you got to be careful here, because if I encrypt the virtual machine and then create a linked clone from that encrypted virtual machine, encryption is going to be disabled. Okay, it will disable encryption on the parent virtual machine because the two have to talk. Next, if you have a shared or remote virtual machine, it cannot be encrypted. Then, this is the big one, encryption will protect your data from people's eyes. And that can include your eyes if you forget that password. Now, VMware emphatically states they do not have any magic backdoor way to retrieve a forgotten encryption password. So if you forget your password, you're probably going to have to go next door, get the 12, 13-year-old neighbor to come over and hack your password for you. Okay, little joke there, just kidding. There probably are some third-party hacking tools out there. Be careful just going to those sites to get them. But I haven't seen one. But keep in mind, if you start encrypting these virtual machines, make sure that you somehow very safely document your password, or that you're not going to suddenly develop amnesia and forget it. So now let's jump out to Workstation, and I'll just kind of show you how you would go about pulling this off. So here we are in Workstation, and if I wanted to encrypt my XP Professional machine, first of all, I would have to power this machine off, okay? And I would go to VM, and I would come down to Settings, and then I would go to the Options tab, and you can see it right there. It's telling me it's not encrypted right now, and it's telling me it's unavailable because the virtual machine is powered on. So I would have to go power it off. But I would see it right there. But that's how you get to it. That's how you would go about encrypting a virtual machine. Cool way to save your data. Just be careful with that password. Not a whole lot to this other than the time it's going to involve, and minor little issues that could come up. But for the most part, encrypting is cool. That's how to take care of that if you have sensitive data on your VMDK virtual drives.